Welcome to Breakdown. JJ, it is Sunday, August 25th, 2024. Do you smell it?
What the Rockets cooking?
Something is in the air.
Oh, what is in the air?
Smells like football.
Smells like football.
Smells like college football. It's in the air. I can smell it, JJ.
Not team spirit. Okay, well, you can smell it because Thursday night, we got Michigan.
WPS.
We got Central Michigan, my alma mater, playing Central Connecticut State, and I think something that might be more important to you, Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Is playing Arkansas Pine Bluff, are they not? Or is it Arkansas Little Rock?
Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Okay.
And you know what? Arkansas is in the SEC.
They are in the SEC.
How about if we talk 2024 SEC football?
Why not?
Let's get your take on it. JJ, 2024 12-team playoff this year.
First time.
We're talking SEC. Can you give me 4 teams from the SEC who have a shot at making it to the college playoff?
Well, there's a lot of teams that have a shot, but I think the teams that have the biggest and best opportunity to make it to the SEC championship and or the college football playoff would be obviously Georgia, the number 1 team in the country, the team that's won 2 of the last 3 championships, and the team that beat Florida State, previously undefeated Florida State, by 60 points in their most recent bowl game. So I think that they would be a good contender. I think Missouri would be a great contender. If you look at their schedule and you look at their skill production players between Brady Cook and Luther Burden might be the best wide receiver in the country. He was the best recruit coming out in high school when he was coming out of East St. Louis a couple years ago. And he has more than lived up to the hype as it pertains to production. I think he's the best receiver in the SEC and potentially the best receiver in the country. So I like Missouri. I like Georgia. I like LSU, a team a little bit lower down the rankings.
LSU, okay. Now I'm very interested who you're gonna pick for your 4th, because I got 2 teams that you haven't picked yet, and you got to pick one of these teams. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think it's obvious. I mean, it's the team out in Knoxville. I'm going with Tennessee.
JJ, man. So that means no Nick Saban, no Alabama.
Well, Nick Saban ain't going to be there regardless.
I know that. That's what I said. No Nick Saban. That means Alabama won't make the playoff. That's what
I think there's a lot of question marks. I think they lost a lot. Lost a lot on defense in their secondary. I think they lost a lot in their receiving core. I mean, I know they're Alabama, and they did have a really good recruiting year, even with Kalen DeBoer stepping in for Nick Saban. I know they got a bunch of 5 stars for the next recruiting class as well. But I just think there are more question marks than there are answers.
They are preseason number 5 in the nation. You know that, right?
I do know that.
Okay, the other team you did not pick, JJ.
Out in Austin?
No.
Oh, okay.
That is one.
Okay.
And they're preseason number 4.
Yeah, they're ranked higher, so I thought that was the team that you were going for. Okay. What team were you talking about?
I thought the team was ranked number 6, preseason number 6.
Oh, well, you already know I don't have any respect for Ole Miss or Lane Kiffin. I don't believe until they convince me.
They were 11-2 last year.
They were.
They got one of the best quarterback in the country coming back.
That's debatable.
Okay, and then there's Texas. Why are you skipping on Texas?
Texas, they have to play their 3 biggest rivals away from Austin. They play Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Arkansas away from Austin. Arkansas, unfortunately, I don't think is going to be that big of a factor. But they also play Michigan away from Austin.
Okay.
And they also have lost a couple of running backs. They only have 3 scholarship running backs as of right now. They can't afford to take any more injuries in the backfield. So I think that, as much as I like Quentin Ewers, and I think they might have the best backup quarterback in the country, I don't think that their positional strength is distributed evenly throughout their team.
Okay. Well, the road game you call against Oklahoma, their rivalry, is not truly a road game because it's always played in the same spot in Dallas every year. So it's not.
That's why I didn't call it a road game.
Okay.
That's a specific, exactly why.
Away from Austin.
That's why I phrased it the way that I did. Because all the other ones are road games.
Oh man, Jose, we're talking this year. You mentioned Michigan, Texas, week 2.
Week 2. And I'm a little bit more bullish on Michigan than you are, and the national.
How did you see that game?
Well, I don't see Michigan leaving with a loss. I know that.
Tell me more. What is it about Michigan that excites you?
Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Will Johnson.
3 of those guys play offense.
They don't. Alex Orji plays offense though, and he has been apparently been looking very good in practice. And it's all but certain he's the starting quarterback. They're not going to announce anything because there's no need to, but he's been playing the best, and he's apparently the past couple of weeks has been lighting it up. So my only concern with them, I know they lost Blake Corum. He's out in LA now. He's in the Los Angeles Rams running back rotation. But I'm not worried about their running game. I'm not worried about their offensive line, even though they lost Zach Zinner and a couple of other guys.
They only have one returning starter on their offense.
That's true. They only have one returning starter on the offense.
That's their tight end, I believe.
Yeah, the preseason All-American Colston Loveland is returning on their offense. But they also have Donovan Edwards, a guy who ran for 2 40-plus yard runs in the championship game, had over 100 yards, had over 200 yards, a couple of times against Ohio State. He's a guy that can fill in for Blake Corum nicely. But I really am picking Michigan because outside of that defense, I just believe that Alex Orji will take a leap. And the receiving core is my only question.
Okay, let's get back to the SEC.
Oh, yeah, my fault. Why are we talking about the Big Ten so much?
Let's go back to the SEC.
Yeah.
Man, you got Tennessee potentially going to the playoff and LSU potentially going to the playoff.
Yeah.
LSU, their win total is over and under is 9.5. Mm-hmm. Tennessee is 8.5. Yeah. Tennessee seemed to be a huge long shot. What is it about Tennessee that you like?
I like the quarterback that they paid $8 million for, Nico. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name.
Okay, we'll just call him Nico.
Yeah, I like him. I like their coach. Spoiler alert for LSU, the same thing. It's the same formula. I like their coach, and I believe in their quarterback. I think Nico is the most dynamic quarterback in the SEC. I think Carson Beck is more refined at this point. He's 23. So I'm going to go with Carson Beck over the teenager as it comes to production next year. But I think when all said and done, when Nico's a finished product, he's going to be much better than Carson Beck is. I think he's going to be a headache to deal with. I could see him having a Johnny Manziel type of year for Tennessee. I could see him putting that team on his back and leading Tennessee, leapfrogging an injured Texas squad, an Ole Miss squad that's coached by Lane Kiffin, and an Alabama squad that has a lot of question marks.
Okay, so Tennessee has to go to Georgia.
They do.
And they have to go to Oklahoma.
So Georgia's a loss. I am not bullish on Oklahoma. So, yes, they do have to go to Oklahoma to win in Oklahoma, which they will do.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, Georgia's a loss. They will lose to Georgia.
How many losses can a team get this year and still make it to the college playoff?
It depends on the conference. It depends on the team.
In general,
if you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, you could sustain up to 3 losses.
Ooh,
depending if you're Alabama, depending on how the losses come, depending on what type of team you are, you can sustain up to 3 losses.
I would say that you can sustain up to 3 losses if you lose in your conference championship game. If not, man, 3 losses in 12 games is going to be tough to me to get into the college football playoff.
And it would be downright impossible if you don't play in the Big Ten or the SEC. And even if you play in the Big Ten and the SEC and your name is Missouri or your name is, not Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, I think it's very hard to get in. But I think the right school in the right conference with the right losses, by the right margins, I think that they could sneak in with 3 losses. I don't think every school in the Big Ten could. I don't think every school in the SEC could.
Okay.
But I think depending on the situation, depending on the circumstance, I could see that happening. I think for the most part, though, 2 losses is what you want to aim for, 2 or less.
Alabama does have a lot of questions. Let me ask you this. Would you give their coaching a question mark?
No, Kalen DeBoer has shown the ability to coach up, specifically quarterbacks, specifically dual threat quarterbacks. I know Michael Penix did not play like a dual threat quarterback last year in his last year at Washington, but before that in Indiana, he was a lot more mobile. He had 4 season-ending injuries, so that kind of does change you as a player. You might not want to deviate from the pocket as much. But, Kalen DeBoer has led 3 quarterbacks to, I think, 1,000-yard rushing seasons or something like that.
Okay,
So
okay.
I think that he's a great coach for a team led by Jalen Milroe. I think he'll know how to use his talents. But I do think that it's hard to step in those shoes. It's hard to bring a new philosophy in. I mean, Georgia, the first year Kirby Smart took over for Georgia lost to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost to Georgia Tech and somebody it's the first year is hard.
Okay.
The first year in a new conference is hard.
Okay. I will say this for Alabama. To me, their schedule is pretty tough. They have to go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They get Georgia at home. They got to go to Tennessee. They get Missouri at home. They got to go to LSU. They got to go to LSU. They got to go to Oklahoma, and then they play Auburn at home. And that Auburn game, no matter what the records are, to me that's always a 50-50 game, because those two teams, they just don't get a lot of distance between them when they play in each other.
Yeah, Auburn won 5 games last year or 6? And they came within a 4th and 31
of beating Alabama.
Of getting to 6 wins.
That's true. True. JJ, I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about my favorite SEC school.
Okay, your favorite SEC school? I know what that one is. Vanderbilt?
It's close.
Okay.
Close. Vanderbilt probably have a better record than my favorite team over the last 5 years, but I'm going with Arkansas, JJ. This is what I want to know from you. Arkansas, their over and under is 4.5 games. Mm-hmm. Last year they were 4-8. Yeah. This year they got Bobby Petrino. Is Bobby Petrino worth half a Bobby Petrino versus who was their offensive coordinator last year? From CMU. There used to be coach
Dan Enos?
Dan Enos. Is Bobby Petrino worth a half game more than Dan Enos?
In a vacuum maybe. But
in the SEC, is he?
In the vacuum, I mean, they don't have the same quarterback as they had last year.
That's
so
true.
There's a lot of variables that have changed. But, if everything was the exact same, I would say that he is worth more. But, there's a whole lot of turnover that's happened at Arkansas, unfortunately.
The over and under is 4.5. America, don't you do like me, because I'm going to go and lay some cold, hard cash on the over. But you
don't do
it.
Yeah, listen.
But me, I'm going to do it. That's my favorite team. JJ, I'm going to give you my potential 14 to make it to the SEC.
Let's hear them.
I mean, to make it to the college playoff. Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. I'm going to go with Georgia. Texas, even missing their running back because their offense, I think, is high volume. Mississippi.
Okay.
And, Missouri. I hate to pick Missouri over LSU, but I'm going to say Missouri. So those are my 4.
Well, we both had Missouri, we both had Georgia, and that's our only overlap. But like Missouri, I'm from the show me state. You're going to have to show me Mississippi doing anything like that. But we'll see.
I think Missouri's schedule will get them. They only have 3 really difficult teams to play. That's Oklahoma, Alabama, and Texas A&M. I think they're better than Texas A&M. I think they're actually better than Oklahoma. I don't think they're better than Alabama. So I think just the schedule alone will get Missouri into the college playoff.
Yeah. And when I say I'm down on Mississippi, I still have them, going 8-4, 9-3. I only see 3 or 4 losses, but I'm just not as bullish as the rest of the country.
How good did you think their quarterback is?
Jackson Dart, I think he's, a decent game manager. I don't think he's spectacular in any respects. He's somewhat mobile, but he's not gonna really scare you with his legs, or with his arm, or with his accuracy, or anything like that.
And their receivers, the receiving core?
The receiving core is pretty good. I mean, and the skill position players, I know they lost Quinshon Judkins, first team All SEC the past 2 years. The running back that rushed for the most yards as a freshman, except for one person, that was Herschel Walker. I know he has all those accolades and they lost him, but Mississippi still.
Well, going on Mississippi, I do believe they had the #1 portal incoming class this year.
Yeah, which is crazy because Ohio State had Quinshon Judkins and Caleb Downs go to their team. So I might disagree with those portal rankings, but I did see that Ole Miss did have a higher ranked portal class.
Okay.
I don't agree, but I saw that. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. This is our take on the SEC. Anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, JJ? On the SEC?
No, I think I think we hit all the important teams. LSU has a couple of receivers that they have to replace, but if any school can do
And
it,
a quarterback.
and a Heisman winning quarterback,
Yes.
a top 2 pick in the NFL draft. But if any team can replace the skill position players, it would be LSU. They're kind of wide receiver you, so I'm not super concerned about that.
Because of time, we didn't even touch on Auburn, man. Our Oklahoma. Both of those teams have an over and under of 7.5.
I mean, Jackson Arnold, he pushed out the presumptive favorite to win the Heisman. Quarterbacks, Oregon's starting quarterback. The reason he had leave Oklahoma was because Jackson Arnold apparently was going to win that job.
Oklahoma was 10-3 last year, but you still don't have any faith in them this year.
No, I believe in Dylan Gabriel.
Okay.
I think there's a reason he's the presumptive favorite to win the Heisman. I think Jackson Arnold is, while talented, I think a lot of it is contingent on if Andrew Anthony can come back from a torn ACL and if he's on schedule.
Oh, their wide receiving core is tops, with or without him, man. I'm serious about that. Oklahoma got, their wide and receiving core is tops.
Okay, well,
They're tops.
They were not last year, that's for sure.
Okay. That's it, man. WPS. I got you Thursday night. We out of here, JJ. You got anything?
Who dat?
Bam.